quality time sounds even better.
Who wants another burger?
Splash City, 1024 West Omaha, across from Connects in Rapid City.
Hi, I'm Tim Wrench, and I'm seeking personal injury cases. If you've been injured because someone else did something wrong, call me up. I'm a trial lawyer. I've tried criminal and civil cases for decades, and I can use all of that experience to help you. I also know this, that when insurance companies know that you're represented by a trial lawyer, they take your claim more seriously, and if it is to be settled, it's settled better with a trial lawyer. Wrench Law, 605-341-1111, wrenchlaw.com.
Football season is almost here, and we're throwing a huge kickoff party in the BetMGM Sportsbook at Tin Lizzy Gaming Resort. Thursday, September 4th is the official start to pro football action, and we'll have games, prizes, great food, cold drinks, and even the Nate Brown Show on Fox Sports Rapid City. Enjoy the BetMGM Sportsbook with wall-to-wall televisions, comfortable and spacious seating, and personal live audio streamed right to your phone. Kick off your season right with the BetMGM Sportsbook at Tin Lizzy Gaming Resort, where it's always game on.
Great news. I just got the State Farm personal price plan on our home and auto insurance.
You told our agent about my thing for romance novels?
No, you don't have to get that personal. Our agent just helped me choose affordable options to create a personalized price just for us.
Oh, sweet. Then you won't believe the love triangle Jen is in now.
Contact me, State Farm agent Scott Carlson, to create your personal price plan today.
Prices vary by state. Options selected by customer. Availability and eligibility may vary.
KIMM Rapid City and K294BT Rapid City, the Black Hills Sports Station, 106.7 FM and 1150 AM, Fox Sports Rapid City.
Los Angeles Chargers Pro Bowl left tackle Rashawn Slater was taken off the practice field in a cart today with what appeared to be a left leg injury. 11 days ago, Slater signed a 4-year, $114 million extension, making him the highest-paid offensive lineman in NFL history. Also today, Houston Texans safety C.J. Gardner-Johnson was carted off the field with an apparent lower right leg injury. Kansas City head coach Andy Reid said today that Patrick Mahomes will play the first quarter of the Chiefs' preseason opener Saturday against Arizona. Jacksonville Jaguars head coach Liam Cohen said rookie Travis Hunter will play both receiver and cornerback in Saturday's preseason opener against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Baseball right now. The Seattle Mariners have a 2-1 lead over the White Sox in the bottom of the 6th inning thanks to a 2-run home run by Randy Arozarena, his 23rd. Earlier, the Athletics won at Washington 6-0. I'm Isaac Lowenkron.
It's time for South Dakota's Sports Talk Show. This is the Nate Brown Show, featuring live callers, great interviews, and thought-provoking sports talk. From the biggest national names to the hottest stories across South Dakota. Welcome to the Nate Brown Show. Here's your host, Nate Brown.
All right, welcome in Thursday afternoon. Hope you're having a good one. Thanks for being here. South Dakota Sports Talk Show ready to roll. 2 hours. Thought-provoking sports talk for South Dakota and beyond. The Nate Brown Show is in on Fox Sports Radio. Glad you're here. Thanks for making this show possible. You all do that. We appreciate that, spending some time with us tonight. We'll try and make it count for you on your afternoon drive home. It is always a great day in South Dakota. Say it with me. Hope you're doing well. A little toasty around the state. Summertime, we'll take it. School time almost coming up. So soak it up. I know the fair's going on, Sioux Empire Fair. You got Rapid Cities Fair coming up next week. Soak it up, man. It's fun time of year, though. We got football. We got fall sports starting up. Let's get after it tonight. South Dakota Sports Talk Show live on Fox Sports Radio. Remember, other ways you can listen or watch on X right now. If you're on X, follow us at Nate Brown Show. Watch us live on X. And then on YouTube, The Nate Brown Show, the YouTube channel. Subscribe, The Nate Brown Show. We'd appreciate that. You can watch the live show and the archive shows. What's it mean Thursday on the program? If you've listened, you know it's happy hour. Time to bring it back with Rob Kegron, national radio host, the great Rob Kegron. He pops in every week on the program. He is really good. I just don't tell him that, but he's really good. I tell you that. Rob Kegron's coming up Thursday, happy hour. He's our guest host in the second hour, so hang on for Rob. A lot to hit with him tonight. Until then, let's look at the guest lineup. Mike Golick Jr. is going to pop in next. So we'll start the show with Mike Golick Jr. of Golick and Golick with his dad. Great show on FanDuel. Mike Golick Jr. is in talking college football, some NFL. We'll hit him with that. We'll go to North Dakota. Mike McFeely's on tap. He's been a columnist at Inforum there in Fargo for quite some time. As a matter of fact, how long, Mike? I'm not sure. We better dig into this. So Mike McFeely on tonight talking local sports coverage. What does it all mean moving forward from the media side? Newspapers, digital, all of this stuff. We hit on this just a touch yesterday, and then there's more news on that today. So Mike McFeely, longtime sports writer, he's coming up, columnist for Inforum.com. And Trent Condon's in tonight from Iowa. We got to check in with the Hawkeyes. He is the host of Locked On Iowa, and he's also on KXNO out of Des Moines. Daily show down there, Sports Talk. He's a big Hawkeyes guy. Trent Condon is in tonight from Des Moines, KXNO. How excited are they about Mark Gronowski at Iowa? I saw this video yesterday go viral of a Mark Gronowski rollout, and he dropped a dime, and then everyone's like, see, Kirk Ferentz, he finally has a quarterback. Iowa's going to light it up this year. We shall see. Trent Condon's coming up, KXNO Des Moines. Busy show on a Thursday. Let's make it happen. Get you on tonight if you want in. Be a part of the conversation. South Dakota Sports Talk Show, 605-720-1067. Lock that number in. It's the Pizza Ranch Studio Hotline, 605-720-1067. Pizza Ranch Studio Hotline, powered by the Pizza Ranch. Great supporters, and I love the Pizza Ranch. East 10th Street in Sioux Falls, also in Brandon. So you got locations there, East River, and then 2 locations in Rapid City. Stop by tonight, home of everyone's favorite buffet, Too Hot to Cook. Hit your locally owned and operated Pizza Ranch. One more way to be a part of the show, text line, 605-720-1067. If you know that, the Barron's Wilson text line is open on the app for you, 605-720-1067. Thanks for being here. So yesterday we had the pulse of this, and I didn't want to get too far into it. I was like, I don't know where this is all going, but I had the pulse of this, and I've made this something to discuss because not only am I in the middle of it, but I think you guys are also in the middle of it. You guys are in the middle of this changing landscape, and so we discussed yesterday. Remember this question I had yesterday if you missed the show? The question of the day yesterday was, what happened first? Local newspapers cutting jobs and cutting their coverage, or the phones and digital explosion that damaged newspapers? So I had that question of the day, not just out of the blue yesterday. I saw this story happening in Wyoming. So I saw 9 newspapers in smaller towns getting shut down immediately. And so I don't know this company that much. It's called News Media. There's a lot of companies, right? Newspapers, radio, TV. So this company shut down 9 newspapers in Wyoming, and I thought, hang on a second, that's like the bread and butter. These small towns can usually survive with their newspaper because the world hits these small towns a little bit slower. Time's a little bit slower. That's what I love about small towns. And they need their newspapers, coverage of high school sports. That feeds the bulldog, right? And so when I saw Wyoming, of all places, shutting down 9 medium-range to small-town newspapers, I was like, look out. Now it's not just the bigger cities and the cuts and the AI taking over. It's smaller towns that have coverage of the city council, coverage of the high school games, all of this small town stuff. That's even getting impacted now by our changing media landscape. And then I see this as the show wraps up yesterday. This same company that shut down 9 newspapers in Wyoming yesterday shut down 4 newspapers in South Dakota. And so maybe you've seen this. This is one of the bigger stories of South Dakota today, and this is a sports talk show, so I'm gonna kind of dial it in on the sports side. But really, it's even a bigger thing than that. But let me just get into it. 4 newspapers in South Dakota shut down yesterday immediately. Same company. They own 30 newspapers. Illinois, Arizona, Nebraska. There was one in Scottsbluff, Wyoming, and then these 4 in South Dakota, which includes a couple of pretty big ones. I'm not going to downplay the other ones, but a couple of pretty big ones. The Brookings Register. I mean, the Brookings Register is in a community, 25,000 people. Flagship University, vibrant, growing. South Dakota State University, nationally recognized athletic programs. A good high school sports scene. Small enough community that everybody still knows each other, but it's one of the premier spots where you would think, hey, there's some good media coverage there. There's some good sponsor base there. They got a big university. And the Brookings Register, which has started news coverage since 1890, and they're gone in one day. A swoop, just gone. And the other one was the Huron Plainsman. So Huron's a town, what are they at, 14,000? So Huron's also one of those towns. This type of coverage is usually, I thought, untouchable. Even in the days of 2025, I thought this small town, medium range, untouchable, because you're always going to know what's happening at the city council, what's happening at the schools, what's happening on sports. You're always going to want to know that. And I still believe you do. And that's where I say I'm interested in this from the sports side. How can the Brookings Register not make it covering South Dakota State and the Brookings Bobcats and all of this stuff? How can they not make it? And then the other news in that community. I tell you how they can't make it. I'm answering my own question from yesterday. You know how I said phones, digital killed the newspaper, or did the newspapers kill themselves? I actually know what the big problem is. It's not a big secret anymore. It's the corporations that own all of these properties. Because what I'm telling you, let's just use Brookings Register as an example. We all know Brookings. We know South Dakota State. We know how big it is. We understand it. We're here in the state. We get it. You know who doesn't really get it, in my opinion? The people that own 30 newspapers. Do they see Brookings, South Dakota as the same as Torrington, Wyoming? I have a feeling on their spreadsheet they see it as the same. It's not even close. But that's what I'm telling you. If you had a local owner in Brookings, I don't know if you could save it, but you could sure do a lot more thoughtful proceedings, like, hey, what can we do here? Can we do this partnership? Maybe we can get some business support. Maybe we can kind of let our employees know, here's where we're at. We kind of need to tweak some things. We kind of have to change some things. Let's put a plan in place, not an August 6th email. Hey, we're done. Have a good day. That's the difference. It's the huge corporations that see the Brookings Register. I mean, that's the same thing as the newspaper over in Lusk, Wyoming, right? No, it's not. It's not even close. But you can't just pick one by one. When you're a huge company, you've got 30, you're not going to go pick one by one. Hey, we're going to keep the Brookings Register and the Huron Plainsman going just because we think, yeah, that'll feed the Bulldog for our $93 million revenue. That's the difference. That's why it's like people don't have to rail against this is railing against the massive companies. No, it's railing against people that don't plug into the local community with local ownership who know, here's how we can maybe tweak things in 2025. Here's how we can keep a Brookings Register here on Plainsman going. How about this sports podcast? How about this sports coverage? Whatever it is. From the sports side, there's no reason that a Brookings Register covering South Dakota State and the high school sports there should be done. But it's done because it's a huge company, maybe not doing so great, not going to keep one paper alive, two papers alive. They're going to shut down all 30 because they don't really see the difference. That's my outside perspective. I've got a local company. I started my local company 8 years ago, and there's a difference. I'm focused on this. I'm not focused on any other things. I've had people say, you should get this radio station. How about, are you interested in buying this one? It's got a music format. It's got this. This is what I do. And then I figure out, how else can we advance? How else can we grow? Do we need to change platforms? How do we make this thing really, really work? I'm not worried about a station in this market, a music station in this market. That's not what I do. That's the type of difference. I'm dialed in 8 years ago. That's what I'm focused on. A big corporation in today's world, they're focused on, man, we're kind of struggling here. We're out. Well, we can't just sell this newspaper or this one. Let's try and sell the whole thing. No buyers, we're out. That's when local ownership could have saved a Brookings Register here on Plainsman, I believe. Whether the world has changed or not, you telling me Huron and Brookings newspapers and their coverage of their local community and local sports couldn't make it in those markets? Not buying it. It's the mismanagement that doesn't make it work. Let's see here. I got to get your read on this. You tell me what the real story is on things like this. Imagine 2025, a place like Brookings doesn't have any local media now. They have no local media. They cut radio guys. When was this, last year? I don't know, 2 years ago, something like that. So there's no local anything in Brookings right now. I mean, that's just amazing to me. That is absolutely amazing. So it's a tough day. The last thing I would say, you got to be able to appreciate the coverage that you have still, wherever it's at, and not just get, I'm going to get my news from social media here and social media there. I mean, we are in a wild world. And sometimes if you don't appreciate some of the stuff that's right there, then it's gone because the big decision makers say, we're just not feeding the bulldog. We're not making as much anymore. I think we're out. And nobody, I'm going to tell you, nobody wants to do that. But the difference between local and corporate, local has to have some discussions and maybe could have told the employees, here's where we're at. We're trying to make it work. What do you think you can do and you can do? How can we get this community still covered? And how can we get some more buy-in from the community? That's local ownership. And the corporation says in an email, we're shut down and we hope to still pay you here what you've earned. Thanks. Let's see. Listener text. Sad day that the newspapers in those communities, Huron, Brookings, Redfield, Flandreau, have abruptly closed. Yeah. Let's see here. I want to get the read yesterday. What was the final poll result yesterday when I was talking about this? Before I found out this same company, they shut down 9 newspapers in Wyoming, and then they shut down 4 of these in South Dakota. And I asked this question of the day yesterday, what really happened? Was it phones and digital killing the local newspaper coverage, or newspapers making the cuts and lacking the coverage and killing themselves? It's a chicken or egg question. But 60% of the audience voted phones and digital killed the newspapers. 40% of you say papers making their cuts first killed themselves. And I got to say, some of these folks, I think, did really good work. I didn't follow it super closely in Huron, but I was pretty plugged in with the Brookings Register. I think they did good work. And now you got a city like that, South Dakota State University, high school sports scene, no radio, no newspaper. That's something. Okay, let me shift to this really quick. I've been talking about my Denver Broncos have been really hyped. My Denver Broncos have been hyped, and I'm going to get into that a little bit later. I still don't know how I feel about that. Now, I mean, this has been this week. Everybody's hyping them. I'm seeing videos all the time on the Broncos. Everybody just thinks Denver is taking the next step. They are going to be the real deal. And then guess what? I see this video yesterday of my boy, Mark Gronowski and the Iowa Hawkeyes, and then I see that take off. You know how social media works. This is huge, and it's the next big thing. Mark Gronowski made a pass. It was a nice one, roll out in practice, and then people were like, see, Iowa's coming. They got a QB. And I love Mark. So I'm saying, let me ask you this question. Is Iowa going to be better, or is Nebraska going to be better? That's how I want to start our question of the day tonight. This is a Huskers versus Hawkeyes thing. I have their schedules in front of me. I've got them. And I went through it week by week. It's time to do it. I went through it. I've got the record for the Huskers. I've got the record for the Hawkeyes. But I'm going to ask you, who has a better season? Huskers are hyped. Third year, Matt Rule. Everybody's like, oh, Dylan Raiola after his first year. Yeah, hype. Iowa, we finally have a good offense. We got Gronowski. We got Lester, the OC. He's settled in. This is the year for the Hawkeyes. So which is it? Who has a better season? You Hawkeyes and Husker fans, I want to know. You tell me. 605-720-1067. The Barons-Wilson text line open tonight. Question of the day. It's a simple one tonight. Who has a better season, Huskers or Hawkeyes? College football season approaching. Who has a better season, Huskers or Hawkeyes? You give me the read. Text it in now, 605-720-1067 on the text line. We'll ask Mike Golick Jr. He's a college football analyst. He's up next.
This is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show.
There's nothing like it. Not for hundreds of miles in any direction. A gathering space for all kinds of people from all kinds of backgrounds. To share, to revel, to stand together and celebrate life's greatest moments.
We are number one. So you can always be their number one. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. The number one hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
It's time for an upgrade, and don't spend a dime for 2 years. That's right, 0 zip zilch, with no money down, no interest, and no payments for 24 months. That's August 2027. Say goodbye to drafts and outdated design, and hello to our acclaimed replacement windows and our stunning ensemble entry doors. Get energy-efficient windows and doors and beautiful upgrades with zero regrets. Call today or visit RBARapidCity.com to book your free estimate.
What do you call a place? It's one of Deadwood's largest casinos, but is it really a casino? Because you can't decide, should I play or eat or wait? There's a liquor-infused ice cream bar? I mean, you're playing craps one minute and the next you're looking at a charcuterie board? What even is that? Never mind the gunfight outside, you don't have time for that. You've got espressos to down and games to bet on and a pub with 48 whiskeys? What do you even call a place like that?
Summer sun may feel great to us, but summer heat takes its toll on your vehicle. Don't risk your family's vacation fun by ignoring vehicle maintenance. When it comes to your vehicle maintenance or repair, keeping it simple is easy. The ASE certified technicians at Al's D&I can make sure your car is in top running condition. Maintenance now or fix it later. Most vehicles, most years, and most countries. Al's D&I can fix them. Check in at Al's D&I on Sturgis Road and online at alsdniautorepair.com.
Ever dreamed of building something amazing? Builders First Source in Rapid City, Spearfish, and Hot Springs is your go-to building materials partner. Whether you're building new or giving new life to an old space, we provide step-by-step guidance from drafting and cabinetry design to lifelike visualization and top-quality materials. It's your vision, and we're here to make it real. Visit BLDR.com. Builders First Source, your Black Hills partner in building every step of the way.
Your sports, your show. From East River to West River, this is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show, The Nate Brown Show.
show is live. South Dakota Sports Talk Show. Ready to go on a Thursday. Happy hour straight ahead. Hang on. Rob Kegron, our guest host of the second hour. You don't want to miss that. He's ready to roll a good happy hour tonight with Rob Kegron coming up, national radio host. And Mike McFeely also on the way. Hang tight. Mike McFeely talking Inforum. That is a strong newspaper. They have newspapers, Minnesota, North Dakota. Mike McFeely on the current state of local sports coverage. He is on tap. Trent Condon's going to pop in from Iowa talking Hawkeyes. How good are the Hawkeyes going to be? Well, I'm going to go to a guy who knows college football. Yes, Mike Golic Jr. He is in tonight. FanDuel Sports Network. His show with his dad. It's Golic and Golic. I think I've got you, Mike. How are you?
Hey, good. How you doing, Nate?
Good, man. Thanks for the time. I appreciate it. So I've got a question of the day. I'm going to put you on the spot right away. You may not be dialed in on the Huskers like us up here, dialed in on Iowa and the new QB, Mark Gradowski, but it's a lot of Husker fans and a lot of Hawkeye fans. And I've asked everybody today, who has a better season? I've lined up the schedules on my end, Mike, but if you just go from your view, who's expected to do more this year, Hawkeyes or Huskers?
I would say, expectation-wise, it always seems like people expect more from Nebraska, but if I'm going to trust, and I was just having this conversation with someone the other day about Kirk Ferentz in Iowa, it's a really high floor around there. I get we worry about the quarterback ceiling, but every year I can pretty much trust they're going to have some incredible dogs in the defensive backfield. They're going to lock down that side of the ball, and they're going to run outside zone as well or better than any team in college football. And if you got that as the foundation and all of a sudden you get one or two things to go right at quarterback, anything's possible. So I'll trust Iowa more until further notice than Nebraska, even if with Dylan Raiola they might have a little higher ceiling.
Okay, so you're trusting Iowa. You may lean into the Huskers if they have a higher ceiling. Huskers against Cincinnati is the opener. That's coming up quick. That doesn't feel like a gimme. They're going to play that in Kansas City. Huskers, Cincinnati. Is that a game?
Yeah, I think so. Listen, Cincinnati in the new Big 12, one of the expanded teams that's trying to get things right with SAT, but I don't know, that being in Kansas City, knowing all of the Dylan Raiola, Patrick Mahomes lookalike comparisons feels kind of hilarious and poetic to me.
I'm with you on that. I don't know how to pick that one. I wanted to get your read. Mike Golic Jr. kicking off the show tonight, South Dakota Sports Talk Show on Fox Sports Radio. Find his show every afternoon, Golic and Golic on FanDuel Sports Network. Okay, what did you think of Arch Manning being talked about here that, okay, Arch is going to not necessarily go to the NFL draft early, meaning after this season. He's going to stay again at Texas. That's what Grandpa says. Can we trust what Grandpa says?
Yeah, I think so, because it's in line with everyone else who knows the Manning family and what they've told us. Pretty much everyone said, and they obviously use Peyton and Eli as the two data points for this at the highest level, they value all that experience in college. And quite honestly, that approach lines up with what I think you're seeing work well for a lot of NFL quarterbacks going in from college right now. The players that have come out and had immediate success, guys like Brock Purdy, guys like Bo Nix, guys like Jaden Daniels, are guys that were multi-year starters in college that got to learn, hey, what it takes process-wise to be a guy that your team can count on each and every weekend. And so for the Manning family, who themselves prioritize that, for the current state of football that seems to also lean heavy on that in terms of the evaluation at the next level, and for what they know best about, in Archie's case, his grandson Arch, I think we got to take them at their word at this point that, listen, there's always the possibility that maybe it goes so well it's undeniable, and who knows, they've got a history of draft manipulation in that family with Eli coming out, so it could, some of it, be dependent on who winds up with that top pick or within range for Arch. But at this point, I am operating under the assumption that we're going to have a lot more likelihood of Manning versus DJ Lagway for the number one pick of the 2027 draft than we are talking about Arch and Garrett Nussmeier or Drew Aller all coming out in this draft class.
Mike Golic Jr. joining us on the Pizza Ranch Studio Hotline here on the Nate Brown Show, Fox Sports Radio. So maybe it's just me, but I want to ask you, have we seen enough of Arch? I understand the evaluations, and everybody's saying, well, this is a premier. This is like an Andrew Luck. You just don't miss here. This is a lock. I haven't seen Arch that much, so what am I missing?
Oh, none of us have seen enough of Arch to say anything like that. And, like, I get what the last name and the pedigree mean. I get the athletic gifts that we did see in the limited burst where he was on the field when Quinn Ewers was injured last year. Like, we saw some good stuff, and we also saw times where some of the accuracy, some of the speed of processing or decision-making looked like a young player out there in his first meaningful action on a team that had a roster that was looking towards the playoff future that ultimately they found. So I'd say we've seen enough to be excited, but not enough to coronate. And, you know, coming from what Bishop Neumann was the high school that all those guys went to, like smaller high school in Louisiana, not necessarily playing against the best competition in the state. It's kind of always been the book on them. So I do think that, like, yeah, there's enough to be excited, but I'm by no means going to say, like, oh, yeah, we're going to be dealing with, you know, Trevor Lawrence as one of the most recently heralded prospects coming out of high school. It didn't necessarily feel like that, even if it still feels like there's a lot to be excited about.
Want to jump to the NFL and get your read. Tomorrow night, it's the much-anticipated Cleveland Browns preseason. That's what people are saying. The
Actually,
Browns,
though.
Yeah, seriously. So I'm into it. I want to watch Shedeur, and people are talking about it. Here's what I feel. There's not going to be a fair assessment. If he does not great, people are going to kill him and see he's terrible. If he does well, they're going to say, it's preseason, nobody cares. Is that wrong or right?
It's right from the outside, but we're not the ones who matter in this. Like, the decision-making that matters is going to come from Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry and how they all evaluate that. But, yeah, we're going to react to this as if it's a regular season primetime game, meaning we're going to prorate everything we think because it's highly visible, and in this case, highly talked about because of the nature of Shedeur's celebrity, which drafts off Deion's celebrity, which has created all this mania that we've talked about since going back to before the draft and through the last couple of college football seasons. But, yeah, people are absolutely going to do that. It doesn't make it right. Like, what we have here is our first real chance for the outside world to evaluate him in volume, which we haven't been able to do in camp. He hasn't been running with the ones until this week when all the injuries took hold in that quarterback room. So I am excited to see what the player that we all thought one thing about in college, that NFL evaluators thought a different thing about the draft, now get to see in the context of a new NFL offense that's also very different from the one he ran in college, right? And he had a couple different coordinators there, one of which had an NFL background, but none of what we saw at Colorado in the last couple of years looks like the traditional Kevin Stefanski offense. And even that's something that's making a comeback after they tried to kind of meet Deshaun Watson halfway over the last few years. And by all accounts, what we're hearing as Kevin Stefanski has taken over play calling again is this is going to look a lot more like it did 2 years ago when Joe Flacco came off the couch and led this team and what we're used to seeing from Kevin. And so I think it's going to be fun to see Shedeur get the opportunity to go and see what he can do in that format.
Okay, one more guy making his debut. He made it last year, then got hurt. Now he's back in. The Vikings are going to start J.J. McCarthy. Where do you stand on J.J. McCarthy right now? Vikings fans think, oh, man, he's going to be good. I don't know about the real perspective. This is a good roster. Can J.J. McCarthy, do you think, be good enough? What do you think this weekend?
I mean, this weekend's going to be fascinating. The reports out of Vikings camp seem really mixed. I see some people that are super excited, some people talking about how maybe he's getting, held up a little bit right now by the overwhelming positivity of Kevin O'Connell trying to make it seem like things are going to be okay. My thought is the Vikings are going to take a step back this year. Like, you can't expect a player to come in that first year, even with all the talent they've amassed, the upgrades they made along the interior offensive line that we saw by the end of the season they desperately needed. Like, J.J. McCarthy as a passer, even at Michigan, was a work in progress because they didn't have him do it that often. That was the whole reason his eval was difficult coming out of college, is like, yeah, there's gifts, yeah, there's pedigree, and he was raised in a really stable environment in that Michigan offense and will continue to be with Kevin O'Connell in this Vikings offense. But he hasn't had to put up the same kind of volume as a passer. He got to hand the ball off a lot behind a great offensive line and some great running backs when he was at Michigan. And so that's going to take time, and you're going to do it early in the season without Jordan Addison for 3 games now that they found out. Justin Jefferson had that little bit of a hamstring in camp, and so you lost him for some of that time. Like, all of this is going to be a work in progress. So I have guarded expectations for a guy that I didn't love coming out of college, but understand that circumstance can dictate a lot of that when you get to this level.
Mike Golic Jr. getting it going tonight for us, FanDuel Sports Network. If you haven't watched the show, it's Golic and Golic. Last question. you love the Pop-Tarts ice cream sandwiches. I mean, I thought this is something off the charts, and you loved them. Is that still the case?
Yeah, they're the only 10 out of 10 review I've ever given. They are incredible. You know how it is. We hear this all the time, right, in sports. Like, you want players that are force multipliers at positions that make everyone else around them better. And, God forbid you get two players that, Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, who 1 + 1 = 3 with those guys. They make life easier for everybody else. Pop-Tarts and this ice cream sandwich coming together, that was a force multiplier. That's a 1 + 1 = 3 kind of dessert, and one that I would as strongly as I could recommend anything, recommend to anyone listening right now.
Okay, 10 out of 10, first ever. I just had to hit you on that summertime treat. Mike Golic Jr., follow him on X at Mike Golic Jr., a great follow and food reviewer. Appreciate you, man. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Nate. Have a good one.
See ya. Mike Golic Jr. on tonight, getting us going, courtesy of the Pizza Ranch Studio Hotline. Powered by the Pizza Ranch, home of everyone's favorite buffet. That's Mike Golic Jr., college football, NFL analyst, and host of Golic and Golic with his dad on FanDuel. Find him on X at Mike Golic Jr. He said the Hawkeyes have the higher floor, so that means they're going to be like 8 wins again. It's the Kirk Ferentz 8 wins. You know it's coming. Well, I've got the schedule. I've got the wins. I've written it down right here. I've got it. So this is the real deal tonight on the Nate Brown Show. Question of the day for everybody across South Dakota. Who has more wins this year? The Huskers or the Hawkeyes? Mark Gronowski at Iowa now. Nebraska. People think they're going to be in the mix. They got a favorable schedule, don't they? So who has more wins this year? Huskers or Hawkeyes? Don't be a homer. Give me the real story. You're voting the question of the day on the text lines where we're getting them. 605-720-1067. Text us tonight. More wins this year. Huskers or Hawkeyes? Here's some votes coming in. Let's get them. 60% of the audience on Twitter says Hawkeyes. A lot of votes coming in. 60% Hawkeyes, 40% Huskers. Is that right? Is that right? I thought it might be the other way this year. Nebraska, higher expectations. Iowa, maybe under the radar, a touch. 605-720-1067. The text line. Who has more wins, Huskers or Hawkeyes? Your vote counts. Mike McFeely is in next from North Dakota. What's his read on the status of local sports coverage in this media landscape as 4 newspapers shut down in South Dakota? Mike McFeely coming up.
This is the Nate Brown Show.
Mom, can we please go to Waitiki Indoor Water Park Resort?
Waitiki? What's so special about it?
Are you kidding? It's got slides, fountains, a lazy river, everything. And it's just a short drive to Rapid City. If we stay at one of the hotels, we get water park passes for free.
Wow, you really did your homework. Okay, what do you say we pack our swimsuits and hit Waitiki this weekend?
Yes, best mom ever.
Unlock your adventure at WaitikiWaterpark.com.
Could there be a better name? Auto Value Parts Stores. They aren't just about air fresheners or fuzzy dice. Auto Value Parts Stores are all about parts, auto parts, and advice. Pros who know auto parts with tons of tips when you need them the most. You want real value? Don't go to a place with a cute name. Go to Auto Value. Could there be a better name? I didn't think so. Your Auto Value Parts Store. We've got the parts, we've got the smarts.
Whether you run the race, make the catch, cast a line, pitch a tent, or just look good doing it, Shields Rapid City has your gear. From athletic clothing from your favorite team, cold weather gear to keep you warm, to the best camping selection this side of the Black Hills, and the most stylish and functional women's outerwear and footwear, Shields has the widest selection of the best brands in the business. So when you're ready to get out, get in the game, or get going, get to Shields. Shields, we're right there with you at Rushmore Crossing in Rapid City.
There's summer, and then there's Murphy's in the summer. Nothing beats it. The food, the drinks, the atmosphere. Whether you're soaking up sunshine on the patio or hanging inside with friends, Murphy's brings the good vibes all season long. Amazing food, cold beers, summer cocktails, live music on the patio, a crew that treats you right, and yes, even a late-night menu every Friday and Saturday night. When you're thinking summer in Rapid City, there's only one move, Murphy's. Visit murphyspubandgrill.com. Murphy's, a Rapid City icon.
As you ride in Deadwood during this year's rally, don't miss the hottest bikini bike wash in town at Cadillac Jack's Gaming Resort. Just check your bike in with one of our bikini babes. That'll give you time to step inside and cool down with an ice-cold domestic pint for only $4. Or enjoy a delicious Bloody Mary. Plus, you can eat at one of Cadillac Jack's 5 different restaurants or try your luck in Deadwood's largest casino, Cadillac Jack's Gaming Resort. How will your night play out?
We're talking with Britt Wickett at Elevate Performance Physical Therapy for an Elevate Performance Health Minute. Britt, one of the injuries we hear a lot about in sports, an ACL tear. You can't prevent all injuries, but good sports performance training could help.
Yeah, Nate, one of the things that a lot of good sports performance training focuses on is trying to not only prepare athletes for the field of sport, but also try to mitigate their risk to sustain an injury. Unfortunately, things happen in sport. If anybody ever does experience an ACL tear that results in needing surgery to fix that, it's important to have a therapist on your side who can help them through prehab, rehab, and then return to sport. It's a marathon, not a sprint. It takes a long time to get back to the field of sport, but it's not impossible to do it all by any means. So just having that end goal in mind can be really beneficial for the rehab process.
When it comes to ACLs and sports performance training and treatment, get started at elevateperformancesd.com.
From high school to college to the pros, from Rapid City to Sioux Falls, the Nate Brown Show is South Dakota's sports talk.
Welcome back in on Fox Sports Radio. Glad you're here each night. South Dakota Sports Talk Show live across the state. Stream us on X at Nate Brown Show. Watch us live there. Welcome in on X at Nate Brown Show. Interact with us in our question of the day, all that good stuff. Follow us at Nate Brown Show and watch the show live. A reminder, if you miss any guests every day here, the Nate Brown Show podcast available. You can download it, listen on demand wherever you're at in your life. Apple, Spotify, Amazon, wherever you get your podcasts. Actually search the Nate Brown Show, and then you've got every show. We don't repeat guests, record them, play them back, and then I go grab a cheeseburger. We don't do that here. We're live with Mike McFeely right now, columnist, Inforum.com. Mike, welcome in. How are you?
I'm doing okay. We had a monsoon here a couple of days ago, and so it is like we are living in the Everglades here in Fargo-Moorhead with the water standing around and the humidity, but it's okay. In February, I will not be complaining about humidity, so everything is good in Fargo.
I know that. I was told that winters were worse in Buffalo yesterday by a guest. This is a guy from North Dakota. He said the winter was worse in Buffalo, New York than North Dakota. Do you buy that?
I've not been to Buffalo, so I can't speak to that personally, but my guess would be the snow is much worse in Buffalo.
Yes.
Than it is here, but I'm guessing that it doesn't get anywhere near as cold in Buffalo, New York as it does in North Dakota. I've been in New York City in the wintertime, and it is really mild compared to what we get here in terms of temperature in the Dakotas. So maybe that's the trade-off is sometimes we get a little bit of snow here, but I think Buffalo just gets hammered pretty much every year no matter what. But again, not been to Buffalo in the winter, can't speak from experience.
That was his deal. Too much snow. He'd rather be in North Dakota with the cold and still a little bit of snow. Okay, I want to have a discussion with you. I want to ask you. You've been in this business a long time. As a matter of fact, newspaper guy. How long now, Mike? How long?
Oh boy, I was just writing something about this the other day. I believe I got my first job at a newspaper in about 1987 as a part-timer here at the Forum. So. First full-time job in 1990, I believe. So It's been a while. I know the business a little bit.
1987 start, 1990 full-time. Okay, I'm asking you this. Yesterday I noticed there was a newspaper company in Wyoming shut down 9 newspapers, and they were small to medium town. And then that's the same company that just shut down some in South Dakota. It's just immediately. Brookings Register, for one. And I highlight that. That's in Brookings, South Dakota State, high school sports. Here's what I've thought. How can the medium-range towns, I always thought they would be rather untouchable. You got to cover the city council. You're going to cover the schools. You're going to cover all of that stuff. And the smaller towns will survive with that coverage. And I find out not. So you tell me, Forum, they have newspapers. They have a similar model. They're in Minnesota. They're in North Dakota. They have quite a few properties. How is
South Dakota as well? Yeah, Mitchell. We own the Mitchell Republic and Sioux Falls Live in South Dakota as well.
How is Forum doing it still today? What do you say?
Well, yeah, part of that is just the advantage of scale because we own whatever it is, 24 newspaper properties. And when I say newspapers in 2025, I mean mostly digital, mostly websites that we've gotten in on that people pay subscriptions for. So that model helps us. But it's an economy of scale that the Forum has name recognition in Duluth, Grand Forks, Wilmer, Brainerd, Alexandria, Minnesota, Park Rapids, Detroit Lakes, Mitchell, South Dakota, all these different places. And so we just have the ability with bodies and sales staffs and people to weather the storm. I think I would be confident enough to say that I think we're weathering it as good as any group of newspapers in the country today, which is incredibly fortunate, not only for those of us who work here, but I think also for the readers and for the citizens. We're still a relevant force in Fargo-Moorhead. I would call us the leading source of information in Fargo-Moorhead, and so that's an important thing to be. And so the smaller towns are difficult if they're family-owned by one person or by one family because the margins are so thin, and I just don't think you get that the advantage of having scale, that you're just depending on local residents to buy subscriptions, and you're depending on the local grocery store or the local hardware store to buy advertisements. And as we all know, there are many, many options today to buy advertisements instead of newspapers, which are relatively expensive historically compared to a few cents that you can spend on a Facebook ad or even, frankly, even radio is a cheaper buy than newspapers. And so there's just a lot of disadvantages to being a single-owned, small-scale newspaper in a small town. It's bad. I mean, this is going to be people thinking that I'm speaking out of self-importance here or whatever it might be, but it's not good when, just to use an example, when Brookings, South Dakota doesn't have somebody covering the city council meetings and doesn't have somebody, frankly, covering the high school football game on Friday night.
Yes.
It's not even about South Dakota State, although that's part of that community, obviously.
Yep.
But it just when you don't have an objective or at least independent source taking a look at the city budget every year, which sounds boring as heck, but that's how people find out when there's shenanigans going on. And I don't know in the future, Nate, how that's going to work. I don't know who's going to keep anybody accountable. I don't know how people are going to be accurately informed. Facebook is, everybody's on there, but what's on there that's accurate and what's not accurate, and
right.
that's where we are in this country. And I don't want to get political here on a sports talk show, but that's one of the issues in our country right now, in my view, is that there's just a lot of people who are depending on sources of information that are either inaccurate or are inaccurate and are purposely inaccurate to get people to go one way or the other.
Mike McFeely joining us, columnist for Inforum.com. That's where you can find his work. talking about this newspaper story. 4 South Dakota newspapers shut down. It was part of a large shutdown with a company called News Media from Wyoming to Nebraska to Arizona to South Dakota. So I look at it. I had a newspaper guy tell me, one thing that happened here with sports and news, for that matter, we put stuff on the internet. We got there, and we put it on the internet, and we made it free right away, and then we had to charge, and people said, I don't think so. Does he have a point?
Yeah, I think that's true. I don't think that's the overarching issue, but I think that it didn't help. I remember back when the Forum first started its website, inforum.com, and the idea then was that people were going to read the product online, and we didn't put everything online. We put a select number of stories online, but the idea was that people were going to read the information online and then say, well, God, boy, I have to have more of that, and then they would go buy the newspaper or buy a subscription to the newspaper. In retrospect, that was a really bad idea. You can't give something away for free for 10 years or 15 years and then expect people to turn around and pay for it on a dime. We are fortunate here at the Forum that we do have 33,000 online subscribers paying to get our product, and that's a fairly large number for a market this size. In our heyday of the printed newspaper, we were printing about 55 to 60,000 newspapers a day. And so we're not there yet, and we're certainly not going to turn the profits that we did when we were printing that many newspapers a day that were filled with advertising and classified ads and all the other things that they were filled with. But 33,000 just for the Forum. I'm not talking about all the other, the Herald in Grand Forks and all these other papers. Altogether, our company has, I think, 155,000 subscribers online. And so that's, again, the economy of scale that I'm talking about. That can help pay for some things and keep bodies in the newsroom. And the numbers continue to grow. And so there's at least a glimmer of hope, I think, for the products in our company.
Let me ask you this as I let you run. I appreciate the discussion. Big story headline in South Dakota is 4 newspapers shutting down. One is the Brookings Register. It started in 1890, and of course they've been covering everything up there from SDSU to high school across the board on the sports side. The Argus Leader hasn't had a sports writer for almost 2 months, and I don't know when they're going to get one. This is Sioux Falls Argus Leader. What's your reaction?
Once a great newspaper, no longer the case. I can tell you some things. I don't want to say them publicly, but I can say some things to you privately if you want to talk sometime about the Sioux Falls Argus Leader. But that's a bad situation. The alternative is, I'll tell your listeners this, is that we do have a sports writer and some TV people in Sioux Falls that we have hired for our website there, Sioux Falls Live. Yeah. And that's Matt Zimmer that covers South Dakota State, and John Gaskins, who does a podcast and some TV stuff. And we own a TV station in Grand Forks. We own a TV station in Rapid City as well. And so we're trying to provide some of that coverage. And so if you have not, here's the plug that I'm going to get in on you, Nate. If you haven't checked out Sioux Falls Live, do so. Matt Zimmer's writing almost every day about South Dakota State football at this time of the year. Plus, he's writing about Augustana and some of the high schools down there. So we're trying to get something started to kind of fill that vacuum left by the Argus Leader. And what Gannett has done, that's the corporate entity that owns the Sioux Falls Argus Leader. Gannett is just gutting all of these newspapers. So Sioux Falls is a lively market. Yes. It is a wealthy market. Relatively, not everybody there is wealthy, but in general, it's a really economically, it's a lot like Fargo, just a very economically strong market. And so the potential is there to have a strong local news outlet, but the Argus Leader, that's sad. I mean, when I'm a newspaper guy, obviously it's been my life, it's been my career. When I look back to the glory days of Zimmer and Terry Vanderveck and Mick Gary and Stu Whitney, and all those guys in Sioux Falls, man, they were cranking it back in the day. They were good.
I'm just saying they may not have a sports reporter. I don't know that for sure. I mean, it's high school time. It's college time. It's time.
And the saddest part of all of this is that sports are really something that can drive people to a website and to a newspaper. I'm not going to. People don't want to be bored with the numbers, but I can tell you the number of people who read North Dakota State football stories every year. The page views are often over 1 million page views completely from August 1st until January 5th, or whatever the date is when the championship game is. We'll have 1 million page views and 400,000 unique viewers. And again, I'm talking scale here. That's not bad for an FCS program.
Yeah.
And there's money to be made there. I mean, sports drives TV viewership, and sports drives people to websites. And the people that own newspapers and newspaper websites should know that they can make some money off both advertising and subscriptions by having strong sports coverage.
Well, I think there's only some companies left that know that. I think you guys do a good job. Mike McFeely on tonight from Inforum.com. His work is there. Mike, good to have you. I appreciate your perspective. Thanks.
Thanks, Nate. Appreciate it.
Thanks a lot. Mike McFeely on tonight, South Dakota Sports Talk Show. Wanted his read. He's been in the game since 1987. Columnist, covers North Dakota State and more for Inforum.com. All right, it's time to do it on the Nate Brown Show. It is time. Huskers, Hawkeyes, win totals. I've got it. Who has a better season? Next.
This is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show.
There's nothing like it. Not for hundreds of miles in any direction. A gathering space for all kinds of people from all kinds of backgrounds. To share, to revel, to stand together and celebrate life's greatest moments.
We are number one. So you can always be their number one. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. The number one hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
It's time for an upgrade, and don't spend a dime for 2 years. That's right, 0 zip zilch, with no money down, no interest, and no payments for 24 months. That's August 2027. Say goodbye to drafts and outdated design, and hello to our acclaimed replacement windows and our stunning ensemble entry doors. Get energy-efficient windows and doors and beautiful upgrades with zero regrets. Call today or visit RBARapidCity.com to book your free estimate.
What do you call a place that's one of Deadwood's largest casinos, but is it really a casino? Because you can't decide, should I play or eat or wait, there's a liquor-infused ice cream bar? I mean, you're playing craps 1 minute, and the next you're looking at a charcuterie board? What even is that? Never mind the gunfight outside, you don't have time for that. You've got espressos to down and games to bet on and a pub with 48 whiskeys? What do you even call a place like that?
Whether you're an elite athlete, a weekend warrior, or just want to continue your active lifestyle, the orthopedic experts at Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center will help you stay in the game. Don't let an injury keep you from doing the things you love. Trust the team at Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center, specializing in what moves you. Learn more at BHOSC.com.
Ready to be part of something big? Meet the Rapid City Sports Commission, the powerhouse behind sports in Rapid City. The commission focuses on bringing regional and national tournaments, supporting homegrown events, and creating opportunities for our kids. But it's not just games, it's a win-win for all of us. Youth sports fuel our economy. Hosting events in Rapid City means out-of-town families shop, dine, and stay with us, which boosts sales tax revenues too. To get in on the action, visit rcsportscommission.com, where we're all about the hustle.
You're listening to The Nate Brown Show, also streaming right now on X. Follow us and watch the show live at Nate Brown Show.
Well, welcome back in. The Nate Brown Show is on Fox Sports Radio. Glad you're here. South Dakota Sports Talk Show. We are live and happy hour coming up with Rob Kegron straight ahead. Yes, Rob Kegron live in studio every Thursday. Happy hour coming up with a national radio host, Rob Kegron. We are lucky. We get Rob every Thursday in on the program. The Nate Brown Show also on Twitter, where you can vote in our poll tonight. Who has more wins this season? Huskers or Hawkeyes? That's the question of the day. Follow us at Nate Brown Show and vote in the poll. At Nate Brown Show, who has more wins this season, Huskers or Hawkeyes? Well, let's start. I'm ready. I've got the schedules. It's time to do it before we get to Rob Kegron coming in. Let's start with Iowa. Where are we going to sit here? Are we ready? Starting with Albany, the FCS program, so that's a win. In Iowa, easy on Saturday, August 30th, so I got to win. Then it's the big one. Iowa State, September 6th. The Hawkeyes have to go to Iowa State. I don't think Iowa wins that game. Pretty hyped up Iowa State and Coach Campbell. They're top 25. A lot of people think they're going to take some strides. So I guess I'll go Iowa State. That's tough. UMass is next. That's a win. At Rutgers, that's a win. Versus Indiana in Iowa. That's Indiana last year, college football playoff team. Give me the Hawks on September 27th. It's at home in Iowa. Give me the Hawkeyes. And then on the road at Wisconsin. Dicey. Wisconsin's not what they used to be. It's a win for the Hawkeyes there. So I got 4 straight wins. UMass, Rutgers, Indiana, Wisconsin. Then at home against Penn State. Penn State is good. I'm not telling you they're a national champion, but they're good and elite. Hawkeyes lose that. Minnesota comes to Iowa the next week. Iowa beats Minnesota, yes, in Iowa. Give it to me. Then it's Oregon. This is a nice schedule at Iowa, man. This is another home game for the Hawkeyes. Oregon beats Iowa. I think Oregon's another nice team. That's a solid team. Here's one that's going to send you for a loop at USC. Can the Hawkeyes win at USC November 15th? I don't think so. I think Lincoln Riley and USC will be better than you think. A loss on the road in LA. And then a win coming back home against Michigan State. And then it's Nebraska. Hang on. I'm not going to give you that one yet. Let's go to the Huskers. Who has more wins, Huskers or Hawkeyes? Let's go to the Huskers schedule. The opener, Thursday night game. Kansas City, Cincinnati, and Nebraska. The Huskers lose that opener. They lose that opener. I don't want to say it. I just see it coming. Cincinnati's that's a good program. Huskers lose, and then they'll bounce back against a couple of cupcakes. Akron win, Houston Christian win. Then it's Michigan coming to Lincoln September 20th. I'm going to go loss there to Michigan. Win against Michigan State at home. Win on the road at Maryland. Here's a kicker that I don't like. At Minnesota, a surprise loss for Nebraska. At Minnesota, surprise loss. At home against Northwestern, win. At home against USC, surprise loss. Lincoln Riley and USC's better than I thought. Then it's a win at UCLA. A loss at Penn State. The final game's going to tell you who does better. I've got their records the same going into the final game, Iowa, Nebraska. I didn't do that on purpose. That's how the schedule lined out. Iowa, Nebraska, I've got their records the same going to the final game, and I will give the win to the Huskers at home. Huskers 8-4, Iowa 7-5. Huskers 8-4, Iowa 7-5. Book it. I got people saying Huskers are going to go 10-2 on here just now. Not quite. But I like the optimism and the passion. Coming right back with Trent Condon. He's an Iowa guy. I've got the Hawkeyes at 7-5. Is that way off? Trent Condon, KXNO Des Moines, live next.
This is the Nate Brown Show.
There's nothing like it. Not for hundreds of miles in any direction. A gathering space for all kinds of people from all kinds of backgrounds. To share, to revel, to stand together and celebrate life's greatest moments.
We are number one. So you can always be their number one. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. The number one hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
It's time for an upgrade, and don't spend a dime for 2 years. That's right, 0 zip zilch, with no money down, no interest, and no payments for 24 months. That's August 2027. Say goodbye to drafts and outdated design, and hello to our acclaimed replacement windows and our stunning ensemble entry doors. Get energy-efficient windows and doors and beautiful upgrades with zero regrets. Call today or visit RBARapidCity.com to book your free estimate.
What do you call a place that's one of Deadwood's largest casinos, but is it really a casino? Because you can't decide, should I play or eat or wait, there's a liquor-infused ice cream bar? I mean, you're playing craps 1 minute and the next you're looking at a charcuterie board? What even is that? Never mind the gunfight outside, you don't have time for that. You've got espressos to down and games to bet on and a pub with 48 whiskeys? What do you even call a place like that?
At Danny Menholt Rapid Chevrolet, Rapid City.
Hi, Mom. What are you wearing?
Oh, this is my around the house in summer outfit. You like it?
Mom, it's a garbage bag that you put your legs and arms through.
Yeah, and then I fill it with ice.
Okay, why?
Well, this house gets so darn hot in the summer, and walking around in my Starkers just wasn't working for me anymore.
So you made an ice chest dress?
Well, at least I'm comfortable now.
Mom, why don't you just call Renewal by Andersen?
Oh, is that a new tailor?
No, Renewal by Andersen makes custom fit windows tailored for any house.
I don't know. I'm growing kind of fond of the old ice chest dress.
No, really, they do a free home consultation. Then replace your old drafty windows with brand new ones.
You know, I do wish these garbage bags were stronger. I reach for the TV remote and ice goes all over the living room floor.
Okay, Mom, call Renewal by Andersen.
Oh, I will. Now, would you like a cold drink? I got plenty of ice.
I don't think so.
Visit RBARapidCity.com today for a free consultation. Lower your heating and cooling bills with windows from Renewal by Andersen of Rapid City. RBARapidCity.com.
This is the Nate Brown Show. From the biggest national names to the hottest stories across South Dakota. Welcome to the Nate Brown Show. Here's your host, Nate Brown.
Hey, welcome in. Thanks for being here on a Thursday. High Energy Thursday. It is happy hour coming up with Rob Kegron live in studio. Our guest host every Thursday on the program. National radio host Rob Kegron, really good, from New York City. I mean, we got to bring him in, get a little South Dakota perspective to him, and then we can have some fun with it. Rob Kegron's coming up, our great host, guest host here in the program. South Dakota Sports Talk Show this hour, driven by Summit Automotive Group. When it comes to pre-owned in South Dakota, look on your phone now, summitautogrp.com. Summitautogrp.com. Experience car buying built around you. Take a look. Just starts with the right selection and the right price, but really car buying from start to finish, built around you. Summitautogrp.com. Trent Condon's on tonight from Des Moines. Locked on Iowa host. You got that podcast, Locked on Iowa, and he's on every day. KXNO, great station in Des Moines. Trent, welcome in. How are you?
I'm doing well, making our way through August, and Pads are going to be popping tonight with a little preseason football, and I'm a little intrigued, so good to have football back on the TV.
I'm with you on that. I want to ask you, I just did a question of the day today. I asked my audience, we got Husker fans, we got Hawkeye fans in this neck of the woods, and I said, who has more wins, Huskers or Hawkeyes? So people are like working, they're working construction. They're like, I don't have time to look at this dang schedule. I put the schedules out. I just did my win totals. It came down to the final game, November 28th in Nebraska. I have them with the same record. I didn't do that on purpose, Trent. If I ask you off the top, Huskers or Hawkeyes, who has a better season?
I would lean reasons for that. First, if it comes down to the scenario that you laid out, we've seen for the last decade the way that's going to go. It's going to come down to a field goal. Iowa's going to make the field goal, and Nebraska is going to be heartbroken. And that's the way that this game has gone now for the better part of a decade, as Iowa has found a way to win that football game. And I can see your scenario absolutely playing out this season. And how fun would that be to have it really matter for both teams at the end of the season? And I think that could be the case. But when I go through and I look at this Iowa team, and I think they have a chance to be pretty good offensively. The step forward that they took a year ago, running the football. They went from averaging a just decrepit 15 points a game 2 seasons ago, and then nearly doubled it last year. Iowa averaged 27 points per game, and they did it without a quarterback. They did it with Cade McNamara, who was walking around on 2 basically broken legs. They had a wide receiver group that was still learning, and a new offensive coordinator in year number 1 in Tim Lester. Now year number 2, you take the lead that they had a year ago in that running game. You return 2 All-Americans, one at the center position in Logan Jones, the other at right tackle with Jennings Dunker, a loaded running back room, and now you have a competent quarterback, and a more than competent quarterback, as you guys know there in South Dakota with Mark Gronowski. I think Gronowski is absolutely going to hit the ground running, even coming off shoulder surgery. He is going to be great for Iowa right away, and I think this offense for Iowa standards is going to be really good right away this season.
Okay, you lean Iowa, but you think it's tight with the Huskers. Here's my losses for Iowa. You tell me where I'm wrong. I don't want to. I don't want to say it, Trent, but at Iowa State, I'm going Cyclones. You may say no. So at Iowa State, I go Iowa State wins. Versus Penn State is a loss. Versus Oregon is a loss. At USC, that's a surprising loss. I think that's tough. And then at Nebraska. So I went 7-5. Those are the 5 losses.
The pushback I would give, I'd start with that first loss that you give them against Iowa State. You know the last time that the Cyclones has beaten Iowa in Jack Trice Stadium? You have to go back 14 years ago. 2011 was the last time that Iowa State won that game in Ames. Iowa has dominated the series, and they certainly dominated even more over there. So until I see it, I think Iowa gets that done. On paper, absolutely. Both Penn State and Oregon decided advantages over Iowa in both those games. But remember, both those games are in Kinnick Stadium. And as you know, Nate, throughout the years, weird things late in the season tend to happen, as Penn State knows. And November for Oregon, cold weather game, it'll either be a night kickoff in Kinnick under the lights is incredible, or it'll be an 11 a.m. Central kickoff, which will be 9 a.m. body clock. Remember, Oregon really struggled a year ago in November when they had to take on that bad Wisconsin team a season ago, and if it wasn't for a couple of Braden Locke turnovers, they absolutely would have walked away with the loss, and that one going to Camp Randall, and Kinnick Stadium is right there with them. I completely agree with you, though, with the USC game. In fact, when I'm stacking these games up in terms of most likely losses, USC's at the top of the list for me because Kirk Ferentz, that dude cannot win on the West Coast, and not just not win, he has gotten blown out more times than not. So I'm with you on the USC one. We'll see. I think Iowa gets Nebraska again, but it is going to be a really good game.
Okay, I just went on the road at Nebraska. I think that's really tight. What do you say about Nebraska? I went 8-4 with them, and I have them losing to Penn State, to USC, to Minnesota. Okay, I have them losing there, and then I have them losing to Michigan. That's where I sit there. Do you think Nebraska is going to be better than they have in a long time? People in Nebraska think this is the year.
The schedule sets up to absolutely have that kind of year. And what I'm kind of more intrigued by than anything, because I think they're going to be a bowl team for the second consecutive year. That's going to be a step forward. But what if this team is 7-1 before November comes? And I don't think that's a stretch, that they absolutely could be 7-1. Heck, even 8-0. I mean, you look at the schedule, the Michigan game, they're going to be, a slight favorite, a slight underdog, everything within a field goal, I think, in that game. You go through game by game, but what happens if they do go 7-1 and then they fall apart in November? How ugly is that going to be for Matt Rule? That's what I want to see, because the back end of that schedule is incredibly difficult. I love USC as a dark horse this year in the Big Ten. Road trip to UCLA, we talked about Iowa's woes, but these are woes for almost everybody in the old school Big Ten making their way out to the West Coast. Then you go to Penn State. Quick week after that, then the short week and Black Friday against Iowa. There's just a lot there that I think they're going to get off to a tremendous start. I'm just not sold that they're going to be able to finish the season. And we saw it last year with Raiola, too. He looked like a completely different guy at the end of the year than he did at the beginning. Can that offensive line keep him upright and keep him healthy by the time we get to November?
Trent Condon talking Hawkeyes. KXNO is his station. It shows on each day over the noon hour. Des Moines, find him on X at Trent Condon. Last one, you mentioned Gronowski. I had him on every week last season. We did a segment called The QB. Got to know him really well. I'm a huge fan. Character guy. He's a really hard worker. Fast, strong, really athletic. I think he's a player. What do you think of him so far? What are you hearing?
Everything has been great. Now, he was a little bit shaky. Mentioned the shoulder surgery that he had during the off season, so he wasn't able to go through spring football. Was rusty, I think, the first couple of days of camp when it opened up here, a week and a half ago now. But since then, he's really started to lock in, understanding the offense, understanding the nuances of it with it. And 2 years ago, they brought in Cade McNamara from Michigan, and he brought a lot of bravado, but there wasn't a whole lot of substance behind it. With Mark Gronowski, there is that substance. This is a guy that absolutely understands how to be a good teammate, understands how to build a culture and a winning culture. He has that, and it's something that the previous quarterback just was never able to understand. Not only do they have a good quarterback, they got a good dude, and I think that's going to go a long way of elevating this Iowa passing game.
Good stuff. Trent Condon on tonight from Des Moines, KXNO, and play-by-play man covers high school sports down there. Find him on X at Trent Condon. Trent, we'll get you again. I appreciate your time.
Yep, thanks, Nate.
Thanks a lot. Trent Condon on tonight, courtesy of KXNO. His show's on each afternoon in Des Moines. Talks a lot of Hawkeyes, and here on the Nate Brown Show. See, he said I'm pretty close with the Hawkeyes. Pretty close with the Huskers. So I'm not crazy. You may think I'm crazy. I'm not crazy. I got the Huskers 8-4, Hawkeyes 7-5. Rob Kegron's ready. It's happy hour tonight. Every Thursday, we're back and ready. Rob Kegron in, and we talk Vikings. A question I have for their coaching ranking for Rob next.
This is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show.
Mom, can we please go to Watiki Indoor Water Park Resort?
Watiki? What's so special about it?
Are you kidding? It's got slides, fountains, a lazy river, everything. And it's just a short drive to Rapid City. If we stay at one of the hotels, we get water park passes for free.
Wow, you really did your homework. Okay, what do you say we pack our swimsuits and hit Watiki this weekend?
Yes, best mom ever.
Unlock your adventure at WatikiWaterpark.com.
Hey, Sioux Falls sports fans, there's a great new sports bar in Sioux Falls, Boston's Restaurant and Sports Bar on West Russell Street in the Ramada Water Park Hotel. If you want to watch games, UFC, they've got it, wall-to-wall TVs, and the best part, great food. Gourmet pizza at Boston's, tons of wing options, great burgers, and a lot more. Bring the family, bring the team, bring your crew to the new Boston's Restaurant and Sports Bar in Sioux Falls on West Russell Street. Plus, you can order online for lunch or dinner. Just go to bostons.com. Hey golfers, have you experienced Elkhorn Ridge Golf Club? Golf Digest ranked Elkhorn Ridge Golf Club the #1 public course in South Dakota. Off Exit 17 in Spearfish, Elkhorn Ridge offers a golfing experience second to none. Play their 18-hole championship layout with your buddies. Stop into Miller Creek Pub for some drinks, or bring the family out for lunch and try out the new putting green right below Miller Creek Pub. Elkhorn Ridge Golf Club has it all. Book your next tee time at elkhornridgeresort.com.
Here's your Fox Sports Rapid City forecast. Lows around 67 tonight under mainly clear skies. Winds out of the northwest 8 to 15 miles per hour. Slight chance of thunderstorms. Tomorrow, high temperatures reach up to 78. Cloudy skies expected. Slight chance for storms. Tomorrow night, lows dip down to about 57. Partly cloudy skies. That's your forecast on the Black Hills Sports Station, Fox Sports Rapid City. Right now, 87.
If you want the peace of mind that your next pre-owned vehicle is the best it can be, you want Honda True. And you only find it at Danny Manholt Rushmore Honda. Our Honda certified pre-owned vehicles are thoroughly inspected and backed by 7-year, 100,000-mile powertrain coverage, up to 2 complimentary oil changes, 24/7 roadside assistance, inspection report, and 3-day exchange. You simply can't buy the wrong vehicle. Search our inventory at honda-true.com or see us at Denny Manholt Rushmore Honda.
Hi, this is David Brenneman with Coldwell Banker, Black Hills Legacy in Rapid City. Have you thought about buying a home or real estate in the Black Hills? Maybe you want to upgrade to your forever home? I have been helping people in the Black Hills find the right home for nearly 20 years. When it comes to buying or selling, experience matters. Let me do the work and you can open the door to your new home. Say hello to a good buy with me, David Brenneman. To get started, just Google David Brenneman, Coldwell Banker.
In the past, if you needed auto body repair, you had to get multiple estimates and then try to get your car into a shop for repair. Well, not anymore. In most cases, you can stop by one shop, get your estimate, and schedule your car for a repair. The question now becomes which shop you choose. If you like quality, choose J&J Truck and Auto Body. They have ASE, PPG, and Gold iCar certifications that allow them to offer you a nationwide warranty. And they'll work with your insurance company so you're pleased with the outcome. J&J Truck and Auto Body, 1513 East Philadelphia.
Live callers, big-time interviews, and breaking sports news. This is South Dakota's sports talk show, The Nate Brown.
All right, welcome back in. Nickelback live at the Sturgis rally last night, and Rob Kegron, he got up on stage. I mean, you should have saw this guy last night. He was just off the charts singing this song. Rob Kegron is in studio. He made it. You look good today after a night with Nickelback. You look really good.
Thanks. I have an amazing ability to recover from having a couple too many adult beverages.
I don't. You didn't know anything about that. That story is false, but it's just something I heard. Good stuff. You did go to Nickelback last night at the Sturgis rally.
I did,
and
I haven't been up there in a few years, and it is. I mean, first of all, it was jammed. I mean, there were so many people there. It was unbelievable how many people were up at the Buffalo Chip. It is a lot of fun. I mean, it's not something I'd want to do like 5 nights in a row. Let's just say that, but. It is a ton of fun going up there and getting a little piece of the rally, like feeling like you're a part of it.
Okay, let me tell you, I don't do that anymore. I have post-traumatic stress on that to a point. My life was, I did morning radio, right? You know how this goes. So I did morning radio. We did 6-hour remotes at the Buffalo Chip every night of the Sturgis rally till 10 at night. We had 4 p.m. to 10.
Wow.
And then we went back on the air the next morning at 5:45. And we did that for 5-6 days straight.
Ooh.
So that's why I look the way I do now. It still impacts me. All right, you saw Nickelback. They have some hits. right?
They do. They do.
Did they sound good? Or
They sounded good. They absolutely did. And the crowd was completely into it. It's not my favorite band in the world, but it's more about the experience of going up there and having fun with friends.
All right, Rob Kegron's in studio tonight. It is Happy Hour on the Nate Brown Show, presented by Que Pasa Mexican Cantina downtown. By the way, also the Skybox. We're going to tell you about this. Football season's cranking up, Rob, so we're going to get the Skybox right above the Firehouse back on board for our headquarters for football season. Preseason already tonight, tomorrow, Saturday. Got Shedeur Sanders' debut tomorrow. We'll get into that. Let me get into this. So I saw this ranking, and you're such a Vikings hater that I wanted to bring it up to you and say, do you have some respect here for these guys? This comes out. The Vikings coaching staff's ranked number 1 in the NFL. This is Ben Solak. He's done The Athletic. He's done some of these ESPN. So Vikings coaching staff, that's Kevin O'Connell and Brian Flores, really, OC, head coach, DC. Vikings have the number 1 coaching staff in the NFL, and you say what?
That's the craziest thing I've ever heard in my life, or one of them. I mean, like, what are the criteria? Like, do we count winning as a criteria for coaching staff? Don't get me wrong. O'Connell is an offensive guru, a whiz kid. He clearly is a quarterback whisperer. I as much as I like to hate on the Vikings, and I do that very often on this show, I've said many times, Kevin O'Connell is a very, very good coach.
Well, he's number 1 right here.
Flores is an excellent defensive coordinator. To take that team and say that that combination of coaches is the best in the league is an affront to a number of other staffs. They're not, I don't even know that they would be top 3, right? First of all, does winning a playoff game have something to do with being great coaches? In my mind, I know you don't always agree with me on this. In my mind, that's a barometer, right? That's how we really evaluate.
You got to have the right quarterback. You got to have the right players. I mean, what would Andy Reid do with Kirk Cousins? What would Andy Reid do there?
Be fair about Andy Reid. All right? Yeah, he won. He's always won wherever he's been. He won year in and year out in Philly. Donovan McNabb was a good quarterback, wasn't a great quarterback.
Yep, I agree.
He won with Alex Smith in Kansas City as well.
Well, I mean, fairly.
Yeah. I mean didn't win a
like
Super Bowl. Okay,
yeah,
fine.
Yeah.
But, I mean, don't you have to win a playoff game before you become the best coaching tandem in the league? Don't you have to win one playoff game?
Well,
I'm not asking for 10.
They haven't been together that long. They haven't had the best QBs. They went from Kirk Cousins over to Josh, the astronaut, whatever he is, and then Sam Darnold. I mean, Kevin's had a bad time, and he's had some nice teams, and he's had upheaval. Brian Flores defensively really, really good. I mean, you've got a head coach that's a D coordinator, a guy that got a raw deal in Miami, I think.
Yep.
So that's, I think, their deal. It's like, hey, these guys, with what they've done, they've made the Vikings in rebuild mode be actually 14-3 in rebuild mode.
And I get the point of they have done so much with their talent that they've had and built them up. But let's also be fair, right? He may not have had the best quarterbacks, but he certainly has great skill position players, right?
Yeah.
And my point to you is, Nate, how are the Chiefs tandem of Spagnuolo, who is a Hall of Fame defensive coordinator,
yes.
and Andy Reid, who arguably is top 5 coaches now of all time, how are they not number 1? Sorry, like they've made the Super Bowl how many years in a row? That is not the number 1 coaching tandem in the league. Are we kidding?
So that's your answer.
Well, of course it's Kansas City. And I would argue, I think you can make an argument for Philadelphia right after that.
Careful.
He's been to 2 Super Bowls, won 1, and he has Vic Fangio, who is a heck of a defensive coordinator. Every bit as good as Brian Flores. You'd have to admit that. Fangio had great defenses everywhere he's ever been. So those 2 right off the top of my head should be ahead of Minnesota. You wouldn't agree with that?
I would not put Sirianni and his crew over Kevin O'Connell. I mean,
why?
Nick Sirianni with Sam Darnold? Yeah, come on now. I mean, Nick Sirianni has the best O-line, the best D-line. They have the tush-push cheat play. I mean, he's got all that going for him. I'm not putting Sirianni over Kevin O'Connell. Come on.
But doesn't their record have something to do with how great of a coach they are? I mean,
Philadelphia's team's just way better than the Vikings. They were just way better.
Right. Okay. Well, I mean, that has something to do with the coaching. No, I mean, Bill Parcells, legendary New York Giants coach, always would say, doesn't matter how good we are on paper. You are what your record says, right? Your record is how great you are. Well, I mean, Philadelphia, year in, year out under Sirianni, excellent, right? Okay, fine. You say they have better talent. Okay. But that has something to do with the coaching, too, getting them to play to their level, right? Joe Torre, right? Great manager of the New York Yankees, right? He had great talent, but he got those guys to play together at a level consistently, day in and day out, particularly when it mattered the most. I think coaching, managing, leading, which is really what this is all about, I think a lot of that has to do with getting great talent to perform week in and week out. And there's nobody who does it better. You can't possibly be serious if you think Minnesota's staff is better than Kansas City's. Sorry, you can't be serious.
I'm not sure I could say that tonight. I'm not sure I can say they're better. I think they're a lot closer than you think. All these coaches are good. I think Kevin O'Connell is, I said it early, he's really, really good. What he did with the year of injuries at QB and then Sam Darnold, I think he's really, really good.
And I get the idea of them together, right? Him and Flores together make a great duo. Because you're right, Flores is basically a head coach who's being a defensive coordinator in Minnesota. So you already have a leg up on most guys. But, I mean, O'Connell, I don't even know if I'd put him top 5 head coach in the league right now.
Oh, yeah. You got to put him top 5. Who? Sean McVay better?
Absolutely.
Oh, come on.
100%. Are you crazy?
Who else? Sean Payton?
Yes.
My boy?
I would say that as well. I would say...
What's Sean Payton done? What's Sparky done down there except for demolish the team early on, and now he might have lightning in a bottle?
I don't know if it's lightning in a bottle, number one. He drafted the kid, and he certainly got plenty out of him last year. That has a lot to do with coaching, too.
I can't believe it. We got Sean Payton over Kevin O'Connell. We got Sean McVay over Kevin O'Connell.
Nick Sirianni, I would say, is over Kevin O'Connell. Absolutely.
Boy, I didn't think. I mean, you had me, and then where do you got Kevin O'Connell bringing in?
No, I think he's absolutely top 10. He's absolutely top 10.
5.
Yeah.
He's top 5.
See, I still think Shanahan is a better coach pound for pound than Kevin O'Connell.
Boy.
Can Kevin win a playoff game? You got to win a playoff game.
He's got his team now. Just get ready. He's got his team. This is it. J.J. McCarthy, they drafted. He's got the roster. They're not rebuilding now. This is the window. They'll win. You can book that.
A playoff game.
You can book that.
This year they're going to win a playoff game.
Easy.
I don't think they're going to make the playoffs this year.
Oh, boy. We went off the rails. Speaking of hype, I didn't know this was going to happen, and I've just been listening to it. You've seen it, Rob. The Denver Broncos are getting, hype. A ton of hype. Is this the real thing? Because I am a Broncos fan. I don't want to drink the Kool-Aid early. We'll see what Rob thinks next.
This is the Nate Brown.
There's nothing like it. Not for hundreds of miles in any direction. A gathering space for all kinds of people from all kinds of backgrounds. To share, to revel, to stand together and celebrate life's greatest moments.
We are number one. So you can always be their number one. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. The number one hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
It's time for an upgrade, and don't spend a dime for 2 years. That's right, 0 zip zilch, with no money down, no interest, and no payments for 24 months. That's August 2027. Say goodbye to drafts and outdated design, and hello to our acclaimed replacement windows and our stunning ensemble entry doors. Get energy-efficient windows and doors and beautiful upgrades with 0 regrets. Call today or visit RBARapidCity.com to book your free estimate.
do you call a place that's one of Deadwood's largest casinos, but is it really a casino? Because you can't decide, should I play or eat or wait, there's a liquor-infused ice cream bar? I mean, you're playing craps one minute and the next you're looking at a charcuterie board? What even is that? Never mind the gunfight outside, you don't have time for that. You've got espressos to down and games to bet on and a pub with 48 whiskeys? What do you even call a place like that?
Instant cash offer from Denny Menholt Toyota. Use your phone. It's fast and easy. Pull up our website, click on Value Trade-In, scan your VIN, and tell us about your car. You are on your way to a no-hassle, no-commitment cash offer on your vehicle in under 5 minutes. Bring your vehicle and your Kelley Blue Book instant cash offer to Denny Menholt Toyota and get cash or trade-in credit today. See you soon at Denny Menholt Toyota, Rapid City.
So, I just got the State Farm Personal Price Plan on my car insurance.
So you told your agent you play the bagpipes for your dog?
What? No, I didn't get that personal. My agent just helped me create an affordable price just for me. Okay, let me show you what I've been working on. Hey, Buster!
Contact me, State Farm agent Scott Carlson, to create your personal price plan today.
Prices vary by state. Options selected by customer. Availability and eligibility may vary.
This is The Nate Brown Show, also streaming live on YouTube. Subscribe to The Nate Brown Show on YouTube.
Welcome back in. The Nate Brown Show is on Fox Sports Radio, South Dakota Sports Talk Show Live. Stream us on X at Nate Brown Show every day. You can find us there at Nate Brown Show on X. A reminder, if you missed some of the show, go to the Nate Brown Show podcast. This show is there. Apple, Spotify, Amazon. Search the Nate Brown Show, and then you've got this show on demand. We've had Mike Golick Jr. tonight, really good. Trent Condon talking Hawkeyes from Des Moines, KXNO. Mike McFeely in from North Dakota on the current landscape of local newspaper sports coverage. Really interesting. 4 newspapers shut down yesterday in South Dakota, including the Brookings Register, covering South Dakota State, high school sports, and that whole scene. Catch the Nate Brown Show podcast. It's there on your podcast platforms. Rob Kagron's on tonight as usual with Happy Hour on a Thursday, presented by K-Pasa Downtown Rapid City. Your place with the patio. Remember, the Skybox is our #1 sports bar, no doubt, right above the Firehouse on Main Street. All right, do you feel this, Rob, or is it just my circle? I can't. It's just my echo chamber. That the Denver Broncos are getting hyped. I'm hearing it from, there was an NBC sports segment. There was Colin Cowherd all week. I'm hearing the Broncos hype, and then I see some of the Broncos reports. People are gushing over the defense and how they're playing against the 49ers in this joint practice. There's hype. I'm hearing the hype. Are you hearing it? Have you seen this?
I absolutely have. I think I've heard a lot more this year about the Broncos than we did last year. Was more kind of curiosity.
Yeah.
What could we knew the defense would be good last year too, right? But what could he get out of Nix in a first year scenario? I think when he had plenty of reps, right? I mean, played a ton, right? Bo Nix, so you know that he's ready for the speed of the game. And I've absolutely heard a ton about the defense. And so I think I've heard it a bunch of segments on ESPN where they're talking about AFC West, the AFC picture in general.
Yes.
And they're talking about the Broncos as right up there. I'm not sure that it's completely warranted because I still think there's a bit of an unknown with Nix of how much he'll progress in year 2. And I don't trust their wide receivers at all, although you can win without big-time wide receivers in the NFL. But the defense is legit, and they're going to keep them in every single game. And how many teams could you really name in the AFC that are absolutely a cut above the Broncos? I think you could say Buffalo, right? I think Buffalo's fair. I
Ravens.
think Baltimore's fair.
Chiefs.
The Chiefs. I think those are the only three teams where you say for sure they are better than the Broncos.
Not the Bengals. Not the Bengals.
No, the Bengals offense, obviously, but the Bengals defense was awful last year. I mean, think about how many games they lost because, I mean, they scored a ton of points, but they couldn't stop anybody. So I'm not sure that the Bengals can be spoke of in the same just because of their defense. I think the Bengals are close to Denver, right? I think you could argue Houston, maybe. Would they bounce back close to Denver? But other than that, I mean, wouldn't you say it would be a huge disappointment if Denver didn't make the playoffs?
Oh, it'd be. I mean, when you talk about it, Sean Payton's the one that's talking too. He said, we talk about the Super Bowl around here.
Yeah.
That's what they do. We talk about the Super Bowl now. And people, I mean, all this hype's going. So you got to make not just the playoffs and get blasted by the Bills like last year. That was a big surprise. Oh, they made the playoffs and Bo Nix. They got to, if you're talking, can they win the AFC West? That's what people are saying. Colin Cowherd this morning, I don't know. They might be able to. The Chiefs might be done. It might be Denver. And I'm going, hang on, Rob. I know the Broncos. I'm a Broncos guy. We had one win against a winning record team last year.
Absolutely.
That's one win. Everyone else was losing. Jets and on down the list. The schedule was favorable. You can't tell me we got one win. Now, the team I think's better now. Knicks should be better. Team overall is better. One win against a winning team, and now you're going to compete against the AFC West and Super Bowl dynasty?
Yeah, and I think that's your best point, Nate. Like, they were not that tested last year. They're going to be a little more this year. Their schedule is still favorable.
Yeah,
I mean, but to make that leap from a team that made the playoffs and got blown out in a playoff game to a Super Bowl contender, I think is a bit much. And that's why I'd say that they're just a cut below Baltimore, Kansas City, Buffalo. So I think there's a high expectation. I think winning a playoff game is a step in the right direction and still progressing. Then you get Knicks to year 3. I think that's a realistic expectation. I think anything more than that would be gravy. I don't expect them to win the Super Bowl. I wouldn't be shocked, and I don't agree with a lot of Cowherd at all, but I wouldn't be shocked if they won the AFC West.
Really?
I would not be shocked.
So you're out on you're saying the Chiefs are declining? Now?
I think the Chiefs are still. You don't make a lot of money in this world by betting against the Chiefs, right?
I've learned that.
In fact, you lose a lot of money doing that. But are they as good as they were last year? I don't think so. I think they're still going to be very good.
Their O-line's iffy, I think. That's the key. Is their O-line really, really good? Broncos' O-line is good.
Excellent. Could the Broncos win 11 games? I think the Broncos could win 11 games. Absolutely. I think the Broncos could be an 11-6 team. And I wouldn't be shocked if 11-6 won the AFC West.
By the way, careful with Colin Cowherd on Fox Sports Radio. He did predict in his official predictions the Chargers would win the AFC West. He said, it's going to be really tight. I'm going to go with the Chargers. I'm going, are we kidding?
Harbaugh is a great coach. You know that. He is a great coach.
Come on.
He's not a great coach?
The Chargers are going to Charger. You know that saying, don't you?
Yeah. I wouldn't be shocked if they won the AFC West either, though. I think the AFC West is a very, very competitive division. I don't think it's Kansas City. I think you and I would agree. Kansas City's not running away with it this year.
No, they shouldn't. I mean, the Broncos were right there with them last year.
Yeah, absolutely.
They were right there. They should have beat them in KC. We all remember that.
Yep.
And blew it. Listener text coming in. What do you think of the Broncos hype? Listener text. Nate, the Broncos head coach is going to be the most hated person in the NFL. He keeps yapping, doing no favors to the players on the team. Peyton better be ready to eat crow.
Oof.
So he's saying he's talking. Now, I will say, is this smart of Sean Payton? I was talking to a guy from Denver yesterday, and he's been down there forever, covered the Broncos forever. He doesn't understand why Payton is talking this much. You can talk to your guys and the confidence and all that. He's talking outwardly, and he doesn't understand why is he talking it basically, man, we're the real deal.
Well, I kind of like when coaches actually say something, right? Too often, I mean, you and I, over the last 20 years, watching, I don't know if you ever watched it, but I used to get a kick out of the Bill Belichick press conferences because they never said anything, right? Like, it's like, how many times can that guy just not answer a question? I like when a coach says something, right? I like a coach who has and I think Andy Reid does a good job of this. He doesn't hype his team let's
not
say.
Ever.
But he definitely gives answers, right? And I like the fact that Peyton gives you a straight answer. He has high expectations for this team. I kind of like it. And I think if I were, the way I think about it, if I were a player, wouldn't I want my coach out there talking about how great we are and how he has this expectation for
I
us?
don't know about that.
I would like it.
I mean, I guess
I would absolutely
that's
would.
the psychology, but it's also, hey, we're good, and then Kansas City's over there not saying much.
Yeah.
They're not saying much, and then they see Sean Payton, Sparky, all of a sudden goes from nothing to now we're a Super Bowl contender. I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't go as far as he's been going, but I like the fact that he's willing to give a straight answer and set high expectations.
Okay, by the way, NFC North, since you love the Vikings, Rob Kegron, Colin's prediction is that the Bears finish second, the Lions finish first. He's got the Vikings finishing last. Now, please tell me you're not going to do that.
I'm absolutely going to do that. Now, I would flip-flop the Packers and the Bears. I'm not sure, even with Ben Johnson, that... First of all, I'm still not a believer in Caleb Williams, right? I've got to be shown something.
So they go last. The Bears are last.
I think the Bears are going to take a step up from where they were last year just because of Ben Johnson. I mean, think about how bad Eberflus was. I mean, like, blowing game. I mean, they should have beat the Lions on Thanksgiving. You remember the end of that game?
Yeah.
What a disaster that was. I think they take a step up. I don't know what J.J. McCarthy is. You have all of this faith in a guy. Did you see a different version of J.J. McCarthy in Michigan than I did? I didn't see anything that said absolute stud NFL quarterback.
I trust Kevin O'Connell. He doesn't have to be a stud. The team's really, really good. That's what you're missing. He doesn't have to be the stud. Just like Bo Nix last year. He didn't have to be a stud. He just kept the defense, kept him in the games. Just don't turn it over. That's all. Well, Kevin O'Connell's the guy I trust.
That's a high expectation for him not to turn it over in his first year. Do we remember who has the record for interceptions in their rookie year? I'm pretty sure it was Peyton Manning. Legend, right? He was terrible in his first year. Why are we thinking that McCarthy, off an injury, having not played competitive football now in 2 years, is going to come out of the gate just because he has the QB whisperer in his ear and he's going to be great right out of the gate? Come on, Nate.
I'm trying to determine if Rob Kegron's really needling you Vikings fans. You're going to put him at last? I mean, this is the Chicago
Let's
Bears.
just say this. I think them and the Bears are around the same, maybe 8 and 9 teams.
So it's Lions-Packers for you.
For sure.
Lions-Packers.
You can't disagree with that. You think Vikings are better than the Packers? I'm not in love with Jordan Love either.
I did this. I mean, Rob's a busy guy. He's going to Nickelback concerts and stuff, so he missed some of the early shows. I did this a couple of days ago. Vikings win the NFC North.
What?
Lions second, Packers, Bears.
Come on, Nate.
Vikings,
You're a serious sports fan and a great talk show host. How can you say that with a straight face? How can you say that the Vikings
are
with
way
J.J.
better
McCarthy are going to win the North?
Lions are going to take a little step back, not as good as you think. Vikings, Lions, Packers, Bears. Okay?
What?
Yes, that's pretty accurate.
The guy's never played an NFL game before, and he's going to win the NFC North in his rookie year?
He's going to play.
He's not Jaden Daniels.
He's going to play Saturday. We're going to get a look. He's going to play Saturday. There's another guy who's going to play tomorrow night. Are we going to turn this on at the Skybox downtown tomorrow night? Shedeur Sanders? He's going to play tomorrow night. What are you going to say about Shedeur after tomorrow night, Rob? Next.
This is South Dakota's Sports Talk.
There's nothing like it. Not for hundreds of miles in any direction. A gathering space for all kinds of people from all kinds of backgrounds. To share, to revel, to stand together and celebrate life's greatest moments.
We are number one. So you can always be their number one. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. The number one hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
It's time for an upgrade, and don't spend a dime for 2 years. That's right, 0 zip zilch, with no money down, no interest, and no payments for 24 months. That's August 2027. Say goodbye to drafts and outdated design, and hello to our acclaimed replacement windows and our stunning ensemble entry doors. Get energy-efficient windows and doors and beautiful upgrades with zero regrets. Call today or visit RBARapidCity.com to book your free estimate.
What do you call a place that's one of Deadwood's largest casinos, but is it really a casino? Because you can't decide, should I play or eat or wait, there's a liquor-infused ice cream bar? I mean, you're playing craps one minute, and the next you're looking at a charcuterie board? What even is that? Never mind the gunfight outside, you don't have time for that. You've got espressos to down and games to bet on and a pub with 48 whiskeys? What do you even call a place like that?
Here, and we're throwing a huge kickoff party in the BetMGM Sportsbook at Tin Lizzy Gaming Resort. Thursday, September 4th is the official start to pro football action, and we'll have games, prizes, great food, cold drinks, and even the Nate Brown Show on Fox Sports Rapid City. Enjoy the BetMGM Sportsbook with wall-to-wall televisions, comfortable and spacious seating, and personal live audio streamed right to your phone. Kick off your season right with the BetMGM Sportsbook at Tin Lizzy Gaming Resort, where it's always game on.
Get away from it all in the great outdoors for lasting family memories with a new or pre-owned RV from Dakota Discount RV. We make your RV experience fun and easy by providing you with a quality recreational vehicle, competitive pricing, and professional sales and service. Our large inventory of fifth-wheelers, travel trailers, toy haulers, and live-in horse trailers allows us to save our customers thousands of dollars compared to most dealers. Stop by and see us at Dakota Discount RV, 3330 East Mall Drive across from Cabela's and on JB Road, Blackhawk.
From high school to college to the pros, from Rapid City to Sioux Falls, the Nate Brown Show is South Dakota's sports talk show.
And welcome back in South Dakota Sports Talk Show live on a Thursday, happy hour. Every Thursday with our guest host, Rob Kegron. Glad to have him in. We're juiced up, man. Football season, the whole fun is here. Can you believe it's summer winding down? Winding down already. I do have to say, school starts too early. I mean, did you go to school that early, Rob? I mean, you were a New York City guy, so maybe you did school year-round. You had to take extra classes or something.
I was a very bright student. How dare you? How dare you paint this picture to the audience that I'm some big dummy that had to go to summer school?
Well, the way you talk about the Vikings, I need to clean that up a little bit. By the way, school's starting up here very soon, so enjoy your last parts of summer at Cape Pasa downtown, the patio, the margaritas, you've got it.
We never went to school in New York until after Labor Day. It would start the Wednesday after Labor Day.
Is that right?
Whenever Labor Day was, it was the Wednesday after Labor Day you started.
See, I wonder where parents are at these days. Do we want the kids here, and then after Labor Day? I'm probably going to go before that, but I don't want to go as early as they're going. That's my read.
Yeah, I mean, I like the fact, so we never got out of school in New York until middle of June, right? So I like the fact that basically you're out by Memorial Day.
Yes, I like that.
So I'll sacrifice a little for that. Although, I will say in South Dakota, and I've now having lived here, 8 years or something, the weather is way better at Labor Day than it is at Memorial Day.
That's correct.
I mean, like,
by far.
So you couldn't even go in the pool at Memorial Day weekend this past Memorial Day, right?
Half of June.
So I would prefer stay in school maybe to a week after Memorial Day so that you wouldn't start until Labor Day. I kind of like the idea of starting after Labor Day. I wouldn't mind starting a few days beforehand. But yeah, I completely agree with you. Starting on like the 21st, that's a little much.
That's tough. I'm going to say the sweet spot's like the 26th, 27th. That's the sweet spot. You get most of August and all the fun that goes on. Hey, tomorrow night, we're going to wrap up the show with this on the Nate Brown Show tonight. I'm a Shedeur Sanders supporter. I haven't been shy about that. I've followed CU. I'm a Deion Sanders fan. I like the old school approach. I like the stuff that he does behind the scenes. People think he's cocky and too flashy, and Shedeur screwed everything up. You know who screwed it up? Rob Kegron's Giants and other teams like that. They're going to find out they screwed it up, and Shedeur's going to start tomorrow. But here's what I want to know. Should his performance hold weight tomorrow night? Even if he's good, can I say he's good on Monday? I come back in on Monday. Hey, Shedeur was good. Or are you guys going to kill him? That was preseason. Give me a break. That was preseason. That's bogus. Now, if he's not very good, I'm going to have to eat crow on Monday, and then you guys are going to rip me apart. So you can't have it both ways.
I agree you can't have it both ways. I don't put a lot of stock into preseason football. To be honest, as you know, I watch almost every single regular season game. It's pretty rare for me to miss a regular season football game. I don't know that I watch any of preseason. I just don't put a lot of stock. Well, I turn it on and watch, probably just out of curiosity more than anything. But the only thing that I would ever evaluate on Monday morning is, did the game look too fast for him, or did you feel like he had a good handle for the speed of the game, for his reads? Was he making good decisions, right? I don't need him to throw every ball perfectly. I want to see, can he take what he's learned in the film room and turn it into something? Because this is not playing in CU. You and I both know the speed of an NFL
Even in
game.
The preseason.
Oh, my gosh. And those guys are playing for spots on the roster, those last few spots. So everybody's playing hard in those games. Maybe not the starters. Who's Cleveland playing tomorrow night?
I couldn't tell you. I'm just watching Shedeur.
Right. But so you don't know who on defense has really given a great effort. But if they're starters, if they're backups or playing for a spot, they are absolutely giving a great effort. They're going to try their darndest to beat him. The only thing I want to see is the game too fast for him, or do we think that he's at a level where he's going to make some bad decisions? There's no doubt about that, right?
Yes.
But do I feel like he has control of the game? That's the only thing I'm going to evaluate. I can't say if he's good or bad after one preseason game. I am not crazy enough to say he's good or bad.
You can't. So you're going to be measured. Rob Kegron is measured.
Yes, for a preseason game, for sure. Now,
but most people will not be. This is Shedeur Sanders, the whole story about the draft. They're going to be watching him tomorrow night.
Absolutely. And if he is good, there's going to be some clamor for him to be the starter, right? The Cleveland Browns do not have a absolute bona fide starting quarterback.
They're going, we got Flacco the hat rack. He doesn't move back there. We got Pickett kind of hurt. We got Dylan Gabriel. They want him to be good tomorrow.
Absolutely. And if he's good, the Brown fan on Monday morning, and Cleveland's a good sports town. Not a great sports town, but it's a good sports town and good sports radio in Cleveland. They are absolutely going to be clamoring for him to be the starter if he has a good game.
Can you see from him tomorrow? I don't know if he's going to get a quarter. They haven't said quarter. Let's say he gets a half. That's a chunk.
Yep.
You still don't think you can kind of evaluate? You're going to give him a little more than a half. It's what you're saying before saying, see, he's a bum.
Absolutely. Even if he stinks, I am not as high on Shedeur as you are, right? I don't know what to make of him in the NFL, but if he stinks tomorrow night, I'm still want to see 2 more preseason games out of him to see if he makes progression. Because to me, you could have a terrible debut, and as long as you see progress from week 1 to week 2, I think you're headed in the right direction. Now, the one thing I really want to see from Shedeur is how, and this is something that we're going to have to read some Cleveland papers, how is he in the locker room, right? Is he doing all the right things in the locker room with his teammates and with film?
People are saying he is a lighthearted, hard worker. That was Myles Garrett yesterday. He's a lighthearted guy. He's a hardworking guy.
If he's a hardworking guy, he's set up for success. Now, the question is, will his talent override everything? I'm not sure.
I can't
not
believe
convinced.
it. Rob Kegron's giving more leash to Shedeur Sanders and being measured than you did to Sam Darnold. It's amazing.
Sam Darnold got his clock cleaned in the playoff game. Do we remember that? Against Sean McVay and Matt Stafford. That's what I remember.
I can't believe it. he's going to give Shedeur. I'll see how Shedeur is. Let's give him some time. Sam Darnold, 14-3 last year. The guy stinks. He's terrible.
It's about winning in the playoffs, Nate. And he stunk in that game. He was horrendous.
What a way!
He was also terrible in the game against Detroit.
What a way to finish. For Rob Kagron, happy hour on a Thursday. We'll try and be back next week, maybe a little earlier. The Nate Brown Show in the books. The Nate Brown Show podcast going up right now. Thanks for listening. Fox Sports Radio. We'll see you next week.
Enjoy unbeatable deals on clothing and more this week at Fleet Farm.